the low. But first, I gotta be honest here. I actually build models very early in the morning. I think that's just prime building time. It's just actually me and the cat, and you know, it's just it's very, very quiet to build models. But this morning, and actually the last 2 mornings, I actually had to go get the coffee there. And I pretty much just sat in the workbench chair and just stared at everything. I really didn't get a whole lot done, but I don't know why that was, but just the way it is. I guess I was just planning ahead my next step, and that's what we'll say it is. But anyway, the low. I got the base coat on. I got to touch it up just a tad bit more because you can see the gray on the barrel there. But one thing I did do, and this is my game plan when I started, was we are going to take some crushed grass and a little bit of thick mud. The low, I said, in the track is just ill-fitting. I mean, it doesn't fit at all. So I took some grass and some mud, and I just did it very lightly, but I put it on the tracks there to hide the gaps or any of the crookedness. And I will add a little bit more. I'm not going to make them really, really muddy, like, you know, Vietnam era type tanks that were in the Vietnam mud, you know, how that'd be more realistic. But anyway, the Germans, you know, we're going to keep it light, but we're going to add just a little bit of dirt here and there, just to make it look a little more realistic, and it'll hide the god-awful tracks that this kit just happens to have. Again, I've said it before, beautiful box art. The kit's just not that great, but anyway, we're gonna add some more. I want to add some more mud and some more grass. If you can actually see it on there, it'll be very, very faint. And of course, we're gonna, you know, paint the camo on there, do some weathering, and it'll just pop and bring to life. But anyway, a little more. I gotta do a little more mud and some grass on there. But anyway, I think that'll take shape, and we'll look pretty darn slick, and it'll be different. The Zwilling, I got it all assembled. One thing I did do, and it actually has 2 what's it called, main bodies. I actually put the body for the turret one on, not the one for this. It really didn't say it in the instructions. I thought, you know, why'd you get 2, you know, why? But anyway, so what I did to fix my little error is I took some styrene and I cut it out, and I cut out the ring hole for the flak there, and it actually spins and everything. But there's one thing, and I got to point this out. See the elevation? That's the way it's going to be, because it does not move, and there was no way for it to move. I mean, it's basically you had to pick it, either go straight or pick a place. It really didn't move. I think you'd have to really get in there and actually make a mechanism, you know, drill a hole and put, you know, say tubing or whatever to get it in there to get it to pivot. But anyway, that's what I had to. So it really didn't. So I thought elevation, at least that looks pretty darn slick. Even if you tow it, you know, you could say it was you know, abandoned, and that way it is. But anyway, it looks cool. It really does. I do like the E100 chassis. With the real oddity weapons. You know, I even thought about a natter on one of them, like a mobile launch pad. I thought that'd be slick. But anyway, also I gotta say this: the road wheels on the Zwilling here. One thing about this kit I had to do, and because the road wheels did not fit, I'm gonna show you on the bottom. I actually had to cheat just a tad here. The wheels should be sandwiched together, like on these 2 should be on top of this one, these 2 should be on top of that one. There's no way it would fit. I don't know why, and I even went by the instructions and it just would not fit. So what I did is I just went ahead and they fit perfectly this way. I actually just glued them in like that. You're not going to see it from the bottom because once you get the track on, but anyway, it gives it the illusion that they are somewhat in order like that. But anyway, that's 2 things on the kit that I have to point out because it's just the way it is. I did add the photo etch on it this morning, so that's ready to go. It is ready for basically paint. I got to do a little sanding on the barrel here, which I got most of it knocked down. I just got to do a little bit more. But we are going to go with, let me get the instructions, because I did find a camo scheme, and I did that we are going to do. We are going to do this one. I like this one real well. I like the gray top and the camo bottom, so that should look pretty darn slick. And again, we'll keep it, you know, we'll weather it, but it'll be on the light side. Like the lowe is going to be a light, you know, very light weathering, but it's also going to be, you know, a little heavy weather just on the bottom, just to make the tracks look more believable than the, you know, crunchy track problem that we're having. But anyway, there is that. The Raptor. One thing I had to do on the Raptor is I went back in and I shaded everything with a light gray on the white. I went back in with a basically this type of orange, because it's just a different shade. And I went in and pro shaded all the orange on the international orange, and then went back in with the international orange, and I touched up all the overspray of white places where I had it, and of course where I missed. Did that on the bottom as well. I took some pigments and did some of the exhaust there, especially on the engine. I got to do just a tad bit more and I'll be pretty much satisfied. I'm trying to keep it clean, but I'm also trying to keep it dirty, because you know, before the fall, you know, it probably was pretty clean, but I'm kind of leaning toward, you know, after the Cylons attacked, you know, a little more dirtier. That's probably where I'm leaning toward, and mine will be different. Plus, you haven't really seen a rescue raptor, you know, anyone else do one. But anyway, that's a thing I am doing right now, is trying to get the a little bit more weathering. I got to do one more weathering to it, and I'm going to take a little bit of the, I'm probably going to take, I don't know, I don't have it, a little bit of black. I'll probably airbrush, I'll probably do a little streaking, which I may not go black, I may be like a dark gray, and I'll do some, do a little, just a little finer weathering, just a little darker, just to hide a few other little things that I missed, and just to give it a little more character. Then I can concentrate on, I'm going to put a wash in the cockpit area and back here, and do a little bit of dry brushing. That's pretty much all I'm going to do. I may pick out a couple of the little control panels with a brush, and that's pretty much it. I mean, you're not going to see a whole lot of it, but anyway, the Raptor is getting closer to being done, and then we can do a little decal, which the decals are going to be very, very minimum on it. The pilots, one thing about the new BSG is their flight suits are like a reflective green, and basically Vallejo here has that color, and I think this is a real nice color for their suits. Now it's on real light. As you can see, where I just basically did a little drop there and just tried to get a base coat on, and then I'll go. I could have airbrushed it, but I just went ahead and brushed it on. I'm going to put another coat on there, and then probably I'm going to do a wash, and I'll try to get all the brown vest and the silver helmet painted, and put a wash on it. And that's pretty much all I do on figures is base coat. All their colors that they need, a couple of washes, maybe a little dry brushing. Basically, if you see like movie figures, I mean, some of them are painted, you know, meticulously. Others are just, you know, washes on there because you just want the shadows of the figure in the cockpit. But anyway, there's that on pilot number 1 and pilot number 2. I would do the females, but I didn't want to go bust open basically a Viper box to give. Well, I got extra, but you know, it was already there. I like to build a kit at least once. At least I know everything all about it, and then if I need to build a second one, I know what I need to do. I didn't get to do nothing on the what's called Hex Marshal Spot. He's basically ready for dry brushing and just a little bit of decals. I'm only going to do about 2 or 3 decals. I got to fix the get the tape off the lantern so we can light it up and make sure everything works. It's going to be on the wood base, and I'm going to probably go get Mod Podge, which I'm not going to make it. I mean, excuse me, I'm not going to go buy it. I'm actually going to make it, which is, do I have any handy? Well, in this one, I have white glue and like water, and that's all that hodgepodge is. What I'm going to do is make it a little thicker, probably add a little dye in it, and then I'll make a little bit of water around here just to make it look make it look a little interesting, just to make. And then I think I want to stain the base a blue color. I've never done blue on a wood, and I think it might look good. But anyway, we'll try it on scrap first before we do it, and see how it works out. But anyway, that's what I've got going on today. We are going to try to do a little bit more on the Dead Man's Wrath. The Lowe getting some dirty tracks. The Zwilling getting some etch and final assembly. The Raptor pilots getting their clothes on, and we are shading the Rescue Raptor. So that's what I got going on today, so stay tuned for the next exciting episode.